Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98 for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome and thanks for spending part of your weekend with me. Today's show is a little bit different as we don't always focus on political issues on Word on the Street, but today we're turning our attention to the Spartanburg County Sheriff's GOP primary coming up this Tuesday, August the 5th. All 9 Republican candidates showed up this week at a debate sponsored by the 4th District Republican Club and 98.9 WRD. The candidates were asked questions about some of the key issues facing the Spartanburg Sheriff's Office and how they would do things differently if elected. So let's get started. The first question of the evening was asked by my colleague, Tara Servatius, and that was, with the issues that the Sheriff's Office has faced these past months, how do you plan to rebuild trust between the Sheriff's Office and the community? Rusty Clevenger was the first to answer.
We're in a dire time. We're going to have a lot of open dialect. There's going to have to be an openness within the Sheriff's Office that we haven't experienced in the last at least 6 or 7 years. The deputies need clear direction. Right now they're hurting. Uniform patrol is extremely short. We're going to have to, the citizens need to understand they need to start seeing deputies in their neighborhoods again. There needs to be a relation between the public, the businesses, and these deputies. And right now they can't do it because they're going call to call to call. The sheriff is going to have to establish policy and procedures, and they're going to have to be followed. Everyone needs to be treated the same, and right now they're not. As your sheriff, I'm going to make sure that happens. We're going to restore trust. We're going to be in your neighborhoods. We're going to protect you.
And next up to answer the same question, Adam Crisp.
Accountability exactly starts from the top, but it also starts with the people in the audience and the people in the community. We have to bring the trust back to you, and we have to bring visibility, and we make sure that officers are in the community as well. But how do we do that? We make sure that the officers are paid. We have a great relationship with council, and we have a great relationship with y'all. First of all, this office does not belong to the sheriff. It belongs to the people. You can vote us in, you can vote us out. So we have to make sure that we're visible. We're going to bring a young, youthful, new image to the sheriff's office. We're going to make sure that these deputies understand and align in our mission. We're going to get them paid. I have a proven track record of getting officers paid. We're going to make sure that we recruit from other regions and make sure our deputies are stacked high. And we're going to combat these crime. We're going to be able to be visible in the neighborhoods. Again, that takes new, fresh blood in the sheriff's office to make sure that we're on the right path and make sure that everybody in this crowd is taken care of. So thank you.
And then candidate Rick Stephens.
The first thing we're going to have to do before we start doing anything is we're going to have to clean the sheriff's department. Same issues we had a year ago, we're having them now. We're going to clean the sheriff's department, then I'm going to start recruiting. I'm going out into these outer zones where we're having the problems, and I'm going to recruit from there. I want deputies who live there, who work there, who know the people, we can help him with these problems. So we're definitely going to connect the people with the community.
Again, the question was, with the issues at the Spartanburg Sheriff's Office, how do you plan to rebuild trust between the Sheriff's Office and the community? Randy Hollifield had this to say.
Well, first off, just like everybody has said, it starts at the top. The sheriff has got to be accountable to the officers that work there. And once that happens and the officers and all the employees know that the sheriff is going to be accountable to them, then that will show when they're out in the community. As far as the officers, they need to know that they don't have a sheriff that's going to fight for them, that's going to get the things that they need. Again, my biggest issue is that the officers that are there now do not have the pay that they need in order for us to keep them there. We've got to fix that. We've got to go to council, and we've got to see that the officers are paid right at the sheriff's office.
Next up was candidate Nick Duncan.
It goes back to the top, just like everyone else stated. I want to have community forums throughout the community, and communication and transparency is where it all starts. If it's not being seen, people's minds start wondering. If it's not being told, you wonder what's actually going on. So perception is reality. So we have community events throughout the communities at the far reaches, because not everybody can make it to Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office or County Council chambers or wherever. So we'll have them throughout the county so that everybody has the option to go at some point. Y'all can come to these events, tell us what's going on in your neighborhood. We'll tell you what's going on in your neighborhood that we know about. And then that will bring these information back and forth, and that will help bring that trust started back in.
Answering the same question of what he would do to rebuild trust in the Spartanburg Sheriff's Office, Andy Clark.
Andy Clark, proven because I was able to get funds for an application that allowed y'all, the citizens, to be able to see what's going on in your area. That's one thing, is being informed. Presenting to county council, also going to house and the whys. That way y'all will see it as well. Y'all will see how are we going to fund things, why are we going to fund things, and how we're going to utilize them. As long as we publish our stats and are open, it's on paper, right? It happened. So you'll be able to see that. That's the measuring stick that we will use. Say, hey, we're requesting this. This is how we're going to use it. Have that stats, and to prove that that's how we're going to use it. So again, getting out of the community, hosting these community events as well, not just going to them, hosting some. I hosted a 5K to get out in the community. I was part of a Donate Life program for the Sheriff's Office to make sure everyone can check the box. So just being out there, holding us accountable, that's what's expected, and being transparent with the community. That's how you build trust.
And next up, Robert Cheeks.
So the question is, how do we restore your trust? One of the concepts that I want to bring forward to the Sheriff's Office is called a Sheriff's Advisory Council. It's not to be confused with an oversight committee, because I don't believe that there's supposed to be people that have oversight over us. There's about 15 or 18 communities in this county, and my concept is to have a representative from every community that everybody within that community can go to that meets with the Sheriff's Office on a regular basis. I want everybody in this community to have an equal voice in how the Sheriff's Office moves forward, and I want you to have the opportunity to say, hey, this is what we like to see in our community. Understanding that the same problems that we have in Chesney aren't the same problems that we have down in Roebuck, aren't the same problems that you have in Lansing. So how do we make sure that we're accurately depicting what our community wants to see and what they want to see in the future of law enforcement? So it's my goal to make sure that I have everybody that's in this room and everybody that's in this community that has an equal voice on how we move forward as the Sheriff's Office.
And answering the question of what he would do to rebuild trust between the Sheriff's Office and the community, Joseph Pilato.
Ladies and gentlemen, 5 short weeks ago, I was wearing a gun belt. I was in the trenches with people, and I got to know those who are already out there. I'm going to be bringing that county-wide because I don't hide behind the desk. I get into the trenches. I talk with the citizens, just like my wife and I are going door to door now. Those are the ways you build relationships. People's frustrations, people's fears, their worries, you get to find out firsthand when you go out with the other officers. You won't see me as a sheriff hiding behind a desk. You will see me taking calls with the rest of them, bringing those standards from the top down, letting them know God's heart from the top, and sharing that with your employees down right to the bottom. When they understand your heart is to take care of the citizens we serve, and that you guys mean the world to me just like my own family, that trust gets restored because people then realize who you are and how they can rely upon you. Not just a voice, not just a position, but a real life person who cares for you. I'm going to be bringing it back down to real level for everybody out there.
And our final candidate to answer the question about what he would do to rebuild trust in the Spartanburg Sheriff's Office is Bill Wright.
So it's 3 parts, basically. Number 1, you've got to go reestablish accountability. Number 2, you've got to reestablish transparency. Number 3, you've got to reestablish a new culture within that agency. When it comes to accountability, that starts with leadership, as everybody has said. But leadership without integrity is nothing more than noise. You have to lead from the front. They have to see it start with you. And that's by establishing the command staff that not only wants to be held accountable, they're going to hold you accountable as sheriff. The second part of that is transparency and ensuring that we're publishing reports, putting on the website what our budget is so you guys can see exactly what our budget is quarterly, so you know those line items and know where your money is going, because it's important we assure you that we're using your money wisely and effectively. And the last part of that is the culture change. We have to establish a culture change within that office. If we do not establish that culture change, we're going to continue to see the same issues. But once we do that, we begin to recruit based on our reputation, and then we'll retain based on our leadership. Thank you.
The race to lead the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office was set in motion when former Sheriff Chuck Wright resigned in May of this year after taking leave in April. Governor McMaster appointed Jeffery Stephens as interim sheriff in the meantime. With Wright's departure, 9 Republican candidates filed to run in this special election, with the primary set for this coming Tuesday, August the 5th. Early voting ended yesterday, and a likely runoff will take place on August 19th if no candidate secures a majority on Tuesday. The special general election will follow on November the 4th. So who are the candidates? That's what we're doing today, is kind of giving you an introduction of who these 9 men are. Nick Duncan is a career lawman who left the sheriff's office in 2023 after a previous Republican primary in 2024. Mr. Duncan is pitching a platform centered on restoring trust, transparency, and honesty to the office. He's also at the center of controversy. Claims suggest a hit list within the office targeting associates, but state investigators found no wrongdoing tied to those allegations. Andy Clark, a recent retiree from the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office, retired in January of this year. In multiple interviews, he has outlined his plans for reforms that he sees in the sheriff's office. We'll have some of those in just a moment. Randy Hollifield is a veteran law enforcement officer as well within the sheriff's office. His leadership says is built on firm, fair, and consistent leadership. Hollifield speaks directly to deputies, encouraging them to maintain professionalism despite internal turmoil, pledging continuity with accountability if elected. Rick Stephens has a unique profile. He has local and federal law enforcement experience, including work with the Secret Service Task Force and the United Nations, as well as an advanced degree in forensics. He says he wouldn't remove current staff. His focus is to tackle 3 priorities fast, he said: drugs, traffic, and crime. He stresses global experience adapted to get local results. Bill Ryan is a retired state trooper with prior tenure in the Spartanburg Sheriff's Office. Mr. Ryan hits the pitch that this isn't politics, it's people. His focus is community safety, deputies' respect and morale, and a countywide sheriff's office that truly serves every corner, he said. Adam Crisp is a former deputy at the sheriff's office. Crisp positions himself as a reform candidate. His message: restore accountability and deliver tangible outcomes, not empty rhetoric. He defines the campaign as service-oriented and addresses a public distrust gap in the current leadership. Rusty Clevenger is serving as the current Spartanburg County coroner, has been since 2009. He brings decades of experience in investigations, spent a 40-year career of service in Spartanburg County. Clevenger wants to depoliticize the sheriff's office and protect the integrity of law enforcement personnel so they can focus on community safety. Honest, transparent leadership is his promise. Robert J. Cheeks, former Spartanburg Police Department officer from 2010, now with the sheriff's office since 2016. Mr. Cheeks highlights a hands-on leadership style, building trust, listening, engaging directly, and building communities from the inside out, he said. And finally, Joseph A. Pilato. He's a veteran officer with over 30 years across Texas, Florida, and South Carolina. Has 14 years most recently embedded in Spartanburg Police Department until his resignation on June 19th. Mr. Pilato officially filed his campaign paperwork on June 20th, aiming to bring seasoned multi-state experience to local leadership, he said. Several others considered running. Joseph Halls, chief of police in Packlet, expressed intent but did not file by the deadline, June 21st. Greg Satterfield, a former Duncan police chief, initially joined the race, but he dropped out on June the 12th, citing personal reasons. As mentioned, we had a debate on Thursday where all 9 candidates participated. This was in partnership with the 4th District Republican Club and 98.9 WORD. We had a straw poll, the first and only straw poll that has been held during this contest. And here are the results. The top vote getter was Bill Ryan with 134 votes, followed by Rick Stephens, who received 45 votes. Rusty Clevenger had 42 votes. Adam Crisp came in 4th with 29 votes. Joseph Pilato with 27 votes. Nick Duncan with 24 votes. Randy Hollifield came in 7th with 17 votes. Mr. Robert Cheeks had 16 votes for number 8, and Andy Clark wrapped things up with 12 votes. So that's with that, you kind of get an idea of support. That's non-scientific, of course, But that's the results of our straw poll that we held just past Thursday. If you'd like to see the entire debate from Thursday, you can find it on our Facebook page. Just search for 98.9 WORD or also the 4th District Republican Club. You can also find it. I have it linked on my Facebook page as well. Just search for Joey Hudson. While you're there, be sure follow and like. The common theme, though, from all the candidates was, number one, restoring trust and transparency. Spartanburg Sheriff's Office, unfortunately, has a lot of pain right now. Sheriff Chuck Wright was a very popular sheriff and has had some personal difficulties. As a result, those personal items have also spilled over into the sheriff's office. Multiple candidates, including Mr. Duncan, Chris, Clevenger, they emphasize fixing internal trust issues after Sheriff Wright's resignation. Experience and continuity, that was a big thing too. Candidates like Clark, Hollifield, and Ryan lean on institutional knowledge and career service in law enforcement. If you look at the candidates who were on that stage last Thursday, there is a world of experience in law enforcement. And the one thing we can say, and as a resident of Spartanburg County, we're going to have a good sheriff. I don't know that we can make a bad choice. So kudos to those 9 gentlemen who have offered themselves for service. Another theme was, of course, reform. Anytime you have someone coming in new, and this is the first time in 20 years that we will have a new sheriff in Spartanburg County. Mr. Stephens, Mr. Chris highlighted immediate action plans addressing crime, drug trafficking, traffic safety, gang activity, and how they would do things differently if elected. So the bottom line, what is at stake on this coming Tuesday is not just a name, and it's a chance to reset the culture of the sheriff's office. It's a very important race. If you haven't already voted in early voting, be sure and plan to vote this coming Tuesday. Up next, the question is for each of these candidates, why do they want to be sheriff? As we continue today's special Word on the Street, we're talking about the Spartanburg County Sheriff's race this Tuesday, August the 5th. If you haven't already participated in early voting, you'll have a chance to vote in the Republican primary. There are 9 candidates running. We had a debate in partnership with the 4th District Republican Club just this past Thursday to ask these candidates why they're running, what are some of the top issues that are on their minds. This is an important race as we have some issues in the sheriff's office, and we need to get this right. Over the past several weeks, Justin Doherty at Fox Carolina has asked each of the candidates, why run for sheriff? It's a valid question, and we'll start with Bill Ryan.
I think you and I have talked about this in the past, but I'm a lifelong resident of Spartanburg County. I was born in the northern part of Spartanburg. I moved down to the southern part of Spartanburg County. I've spent basically my entire career, even though I started at the Sheriff's Office and transitioned to the Highway Patrol, a lot of my time with the Highway Patrol was spent in Columbia towards the end of my career. But I've raised my family in Spartanburg County. My grandchildren are likely to be raised in Spartanburg County, and the reality at the end of the day is I just have a vested interest in this county, where this county's going to go. Being a lifelong resident there and starting my career at the Sheriff's Office, obviously I always had a desire to potentially end my career there, even though I did retire from the Highway Patrol. And it's just, unfortunate with the circumstances, but it's a unique opportunity, because you have an opportunity to go in there and change how that office functions and how it moves forward.
And next up, Rusty Clevenger explained to Fox Carolina why he's running for sheriff.
My career started in law enforcement. It actually started at the Spartanburg Sheriff's Office in 1985. This August will be 40 years ago. I was blessed to be a part in a time where I started out in uniform patrol, worked my way up to investigations, which was narcotics and vice for a period of time. Then as a detective, and as a detective I worked my way up to homicide, and that's where I was employed, or the cases I was working before I left to go to work in the solicitor's office or the prosecutor's office. I had a love for law enforcement and protecting the community. That was something that was extremely paramount to me because I wanted to raise a family in a safe environment. I've been blessed to be able to do that. Once I were able to arrest the suspects and help victim families, there was another step that I could have taken, and that was to go on to prosecution, which I was happy to do. I took a job there in the 7th Circuit Solicitor's Office in 1997, actually January of 1997. That's where I stayed until I decided to run for coroner in Spartanburg, which was in 2008.
And then Adam Crisp on why he's a candidate.
So Spartanburg County is my home. I'm raising 5 daughters under the age of 10 years old. I am highly invested in the community's safety. We're going through a really tough time right now, and the community needs to understand that they need to trust the Sheriff's Office again. They need a young, fresh vision, and they need a leader that is going to gather the community back together and understand that they can trust us to use a credit card to buy gas. It's that bad. So at the end of the day, we need to have a proactive, not a reactive sheriff, and we need to get the community back involved, but also protect our children, because my children live in the area.
Rick Stephens is up next on why he would like to be your next Spartanburg County Sheriff.
And everybody's asking me this, and I'm going to tell you, it's short and sweet. Yes, I retired and was happy with it, but I have 2 children. One's 13, one's 17. And my children are in Spartanburg. They're out in the activities. And I'm seeing what Spartanburg is turning into versus what it used to be. It's not that anymore. And with the growth of Spartanburg, it's going to get worse. I want to do my part. Now, yes, I'm highly trained in what I do, and I've done it at a much larger level than what we have here. But I feel like it's a debt for me to pay to step forward and offer my services and my training to the Sheriff's Department to do what we need to do. Keep in mind, just in the last couple days, 2 days ago, man shot driving down Highway 85. Last month, 4 homicides. The meth that's in the county, if you put a X at your house and draw a circle around it, within 50 miles, somebody's cooking meth. Then the problem with fentanyl. Fentanyl is a big deal because one hit of fentanyl can kill you, and it has killed people. It's coming out of Mexico. State Department's hitting them hard. So they're sort of slowing down on making the pill. Now they're putting it on the gummy bears. A lot of people take THC gummy bears, not knowing it was fentanyl. I can't do it by myself. I need the community to step forward and support me and help me.
Our show today is about the race for Spartanburg County Sheriff. We're giving some highlights of previous debates and other appearances. One of those is each candidate was asked by Fox Carolina why they wanted to be sheriff. Here's Randy Hollifield.
Well, I grew up in Spartanburg all my life. Actually went into the military when I left Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Came home, happened to be at the Beacon, and run into some guys that I went to school with. Said there was an opening at the sheriff's office. Went down, talked to them, and they actually hired me the day that I actually went in because I had prior military service. Started in uniform patrol, worked myself up to I knew when I went into law enforcement, it really wasn't something that I wanted to do because I just come out of the military. I was really looking for a job. But after I got into it, I kind of found my niche, which was traffic. I enjoyed doing DUI enforcement. So I made sure that I need all the classes and everything that I could prior to an opening coming up. So when it came open, I already had the classes put in for traffic, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working DUI enforcement.
Up next, Nick Duncan.
It is time to bring the office back to the people. In order to do that, I think you need some new, fresh people in the office, not necessarily anything against any.
And then Andy Clark.
So I left a little short of 25 years, which is our retirement. So I left at 23 years. Due to the culture and the climate of the sheriff's office wasn't what it was whenever I started. So I left and left some unfinished business there, tech-wise, and also leaving the officers when I really didn't want to. And I don't want to do things, half-butt, per se. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity came along, so threw my hat in the ring.
And here's Robert Cheeks on why he would like to be your Spartanburg County Sheriff.
So at the end of the day, I absolutely love where I live. I've had the unique opportunity to be a product of what I consider community-oriented policing from a very early age. I've seen the true impact that law enforcement can have when you have a relationship with your community, and I want that to be me and our agency as we move forward in Spartanburg County.
And the final candidate, Joseph Pilato.
This is a calling. If you would have asked me a month ago if I was going to be in this race, I would have told you absolutely not. But it took a pricking of my heart with a lot that was going on, especially with the homeless community I've been working with, for God to get my attention and to realize this is why God brought us up here 14 years ago, against all questions, trying to figure out why I took a huge pay cut to come to Spartanburg County with my family when we had no family or friends here. This is a calling to change this ship around. God knew a long time ago this is why we needed me here.
And that's why each of the candidates feel they're uniquely qualified to be your sheriff. Special thanks to Fox Carolina. If you'd like to see the entire interviews, just go to foxcarolina.com. More of this special edition on the Spartanburg County Sheriff's race coming up. We're focusing today on the Spartanburg County Sheriff's race. You know, social media has become such a major part of campaigns. I wanted to take a minute and let's just see what the candidates are saying on social media. Many of them announce their candidacy. Many of them do daily podcasts to let you know what's going on in the campaign. So we're going to start with Joseph Pilato, one of 9 candidates who's running and will be on the ballot on Tuesday. So mark that down. You need to vote. If you live in Spartanburg County, plan to vote in this primary, GOP primary, coming up Tuesday. So here's Joseph Pilato.
Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pilato. I want you guys to know that in all the years I've been policing, I've always tried to build teams and I've always tried to build family relationships, especially leading from the front. I want all the officers to know that is my end goal. But I also want you to know that I'm not going to look the other way when we do things wrong. And through transparency, I want you guys to understand the difference between what is right and what is wrong. Our training, our experience, and the mentoring that needs to come from the top down has to be exemplified, not just encourage all our wrong and sweep it under the rug. I'd like to say that we as a family, when we show our healthy relationships, we'll be able to do that with the public also. But that's something we all have to take into consideration why we are policing. This is a calling and to me a ministry also. And to think less of that just because we are arresting people for this and arresting people for that, we have to remember it's the totality of our services that are going to make a difference. Keep us alive, keep the public healthy, and to slow down the recidivism rate on our crimes. We need to build healthy relationships, and that's what correct law enforcement should be doing at all times. If we don't exemplify God's heart in this, then we've got nothing to build upon. So I want everybody to know God's heart is always going to come first. That's what's going to build a good family relationship within our agency. And from there, we can do the impossible. Thank you for taking the time.
Robert Cheeks, who has served in the Spartanburg Police Department and presently with the Sheriff's Office, had this to say on Facebook.
So for the last 15 years, I've spent my life dedicated to law enforcement and dedicated to the community here in Spartanburg County. I want you to know that through my leadership, I'm determined to make sure that our community is involved in what we do every day, because your law enforcement deserves to be a part of your community and you deserve to be a part of your law enforcement agency. So remember, the rest of this week is early voting. Election day is August the 5th. Please, please, please make sure you get out and vote.
Also on Facebook, Andy Clark, a recent retiree from the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office, posted this recently.
So during an interview the other day, I was asked a question, and I had to compress it into like 30 seconds. And I really wanted to expand on it, so it was tough to do. It was, how do you plan to build trust between the Sheriff's Office and the community? Well, first and foremost, from the top to the bottom, we must lead by example. There's no other option. The community must see us serve them with professionalism, dignity, and courtesy, and we got to take pride in that. Second, I want the Sheriff's Office to get back into the town meetings, the homeowners association meetings, and for us to find other opportunities in the community. We can explore other ways of communications, such as live streaming Q&As on social media or sharing information on community message boards. I want to make myself available and others at the Sheriff's Office to simply talk and answer questions. People should meet their deputies and feel comfortable talking or asking questions. Transparency will only become a buzzword, and we give the people the why.
Nick Duncan, who has run for Spartanburg County Sheriff before, used social media to do his daily discussions with Duncan. Here's one of his recent posts.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Duncan, your future Spartanburg County Sheriff here. On today's discussion with Duncan, we are talking about involvements within the community. What can we do as a Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office to bridge the gap between the office and the communities? One of the most important aspects to any law enforcement agency is community involvement or community policing, but this also goes both ways. We need the community to also be a part of Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office. As your sheriff, in order to bridge the gap between Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office and the communities, I want to establish a form of citizen oversight committee. Now, I say committee and use that term loosely because this is not going to be a group of hand-selected individuals by me, the sheriff. Because when you have a hand-selected group of individuals, then you end up with the same ideals, and that is not beneficial to the public, nor is it beneficial to the office. Instead of being a formal meeting, this is going to be an informal gathering. Anybody in the communities that wants to come to address anything at the office that they feel necessary, tell us what's going on in your neighborhoods. We would greatly appreciate it because we can't be everywhere all the time. Having this meeting in place will allow for greater transparency at Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office as well. Anybody that has a question is welcome to ask it. Now, this does not mean that we're going to be airing dirty laundry. That just means that if you have a question about the office, we are there to help. I know that this idea has been shot down before in the past, but I really feel strongly that we need the greater transparency at the office. I think that we can really bridge the gap between Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office and the communities. Now, I'll talk to anybody, but that does it for today's discussion with Duncan.
And Randy Hollifield, also a veteran law enforcement officer with the Sheriff's Office, he too used Facebook quite often.
Hello, my name is Randy Hollifield, and I'm running for Sheriff of Spartanburg County. There's 7 reasons why I'm running for Sheriff. Jackson, Sadie, Harper, Lexi, Trevor, Thor, and Titus. Come here. Make sure you vote August the 5th.
Now that, of course, was Mr. Hollifield with his grandchildren, making it known that they wanted their grandfather to be the next sheriff. Rick Stephens, who has experience both at the local and federal level, had this to say on his Facebook post.
Hello, I'm Rick Stephens. I'm running for sheriff for Spartanburg County. I'd like to talk to you about the real heroes of Spartanburg County. It's the men and women on uniform patrol that's going on these calls day and night in Spartanburg County, the first line of defense to crime. Also, the school resource officers in the school protecting our children from the outside crime and offenders. And last but not least, our firemen. Our firemen through 9/11, we saw what they were made of when they went into the Twin Towers buildings to save people knowing they weren't going to make it out. These same kind of firemen we have here in Spartanburg County, and every day they're going on calls, rescue calls, that sometimes put their life in danger. If elected sheriff, I'm going to make sure these men and women who are firemen have support so we can protect them. If you see a fireman, school resource officer, or a deputy, pat them on the back saying you're doing a good job. It means a lot.
And during Thursday's debate, Adam Crisp and all the candidates were asked if they had ever voted for a Democrat. Here's his response.
Yeah, so this is easy. I voted for McCain, I voted for Romney, I voted for Trump, and Trump. So no, I have not voted in any Democrat primary. Actually, I am the only candidate that has been pro-Trump when it comes to ICE and when it comes to his agenda and when it comes to cleaning up the community. So yes, it is a job where we have to treat everybody equal. And everybody, I'm not the sheriff for the Republican Party, Democrat, Independent, whatever party you're associated with, you're going to get the same treatment. But at the end of the day, I'm a fiscal conservative who has saved $2.9 million in my budget at the town of Lyman and gave it back to the taxpayers. So I hold those values as a conservative, but I have never voted for a Democrat.
Rusty Clevenger, the current coroner for Spartanburg County, also posted on Facebook.
I'm Rusty Clevenger, conservative Republican candidate for Spartanburg County Sheriff. For nearly 40 years, I've worked every day to make life better for people in Spartanburg County. As a sheriff's deputy, investigator, and as your coroner. As sheriff, I will fight crime relentlessly, using my decades of experience to improve the sheriff's office and serve with integrity and accountability. I'm Rusty Clevenger, conservative Republican, and I ask for your vote on August 5th because experience matters.
And the final candidate, Bill Ryan, had a message for the men and women on patrol.
The men and women on uniform patrol are the front lines. They're the tip of the spear. Everything in the sheriff's office revolves around them. Without them, nothing else in the office can function. As your next sheriff, I will prioritize supporting them, listening to them, and joining them to ensure their quality of life and morale are high. Good morale starts with good leadership, committed to transparency and accountability. I will have an open line of communication with the deputies and will establish clear, fair expectations for all employees. In today's climate, our deputies deserve a sheriff who will unequivocally support them as they protect our community. Vote Bill Ryan for sheriff August 5th.
That's it for today's show. Remember to vote Tuesday, August 5th, if you live in Spartanburg County in this special election for Spartanburg County Sheriff. That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.